Hey, what's happening? It's Bill Smith, and if you have not been paying attention over the last week, the TED Talks have tried to normalize pedophilia. They've already removed the video. I came to look for it, but the backlash was so swift and severe that TED Talks YouTube channel removed the video of a talk where they actually had with a live audience. This talk right here. So it's still up online if you want to go find it. I don't recommend you watch it. It's pretty disturbing. That's her Marjam Hine, right? So someone grabbed the video, and you can watch it here. Marjam Hine told a sob story about a guy in college who wants to have sex with children but can't. And because he can't have sex with children, he'll never be able to enter into a loving relationship. Can't make it up, dude. They actually said it. It was pretty hard to listen to. I didn't make it through the whole thing. I'll try to watch the rest of it later, but this thing's whack, man. So I'll leave a link to this if you want to watch it from their own words, man. They're in front of the TEDx. I mean, there it is, like, I have a hard time putting my mind around this one. Now you'd say, well, that's probably just a one-off thing. TED doesn't really they don't support normalizing pedophilia. So I did this little search here, and it turns out this was uploaded just a couple months ago. Let's be mature about pedophilia. Let's be mature about it, everybody. Look, we're not being mature about it right now. Holding people accountable and locking them up in prison and trying to keep them separated from our kids, making sure they don't try to have sex with our kids, right? That's not mature. We have to be mature about pedophilia. Per TEDx. Mind you, it's a bunch of mindless European people, man. These people are messed up, dude. Messed up. Here's the description from TEDx Talks published on April 13th, 2018. 1/2 up to 3% of our male population has some pedophilic interests. That means that everybody probably knows a person with pedophilic interests. According to Madeline, most people don't act on it because they know it's illegal. And although they never act on it, they will also never be able to talk about it to anybody. But sometimes they do. Without justifying this, it seems a logical thing to happen. But Madeline argues that this is a public and mental health issue, a shared responsibility for all of us. We have to share the responsibility in this. Now, here's what I disagree with just right out of the gate. I don't agree that up to 3% of our population are pedophiles. There's just no possible way. They say 3% of people are gay, and I doubt that's true as well. I think it's probably closer to like 1%, maybe less than that. Here's the other thing about the gay stuff. If we didn't culturally enable it and make it cool and popular and show it on TV and get kids to think they're gay, I guarantee you homosexual response rates would be much, much lower. So here you go, man. There's 2 examples of the TED Talks trying to normalize pedophilia in like 2.5 months. Like I said, this one was so bad they had to take it down. So if you want to come over here and look at this one, man, you'll hear some stuff you don't really want to hear about. She's trying to get you to feel sorry for this fictional person that she's made up tendencies for. Pedophilia has no place in our society, none, ever, and it never will, per Bill Smith. Now, I've reported on this in the past. I have a video with about 500,000 views on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It was the #1 video on Ruth Bader Ginsburg for like 2 months. And then it looks like they came back and scrubbed the results out pretty good, so you can't find it. Here's a Late Show with Stephen Colbert. It's a funny bit. It's got 1.2 million views. Maybe that's the one to have up there. But here's CNN, 50,000 views 4 months ago. CBS, 240,000 views a year ago. See, they got the check marks next to them. I don't have the check mark. So in the last like 2 or 3 months, they've changed a lot of these search results that I was targeting for some of my more popular videos, and they buried mine. So mine, like I said, mine was at the top of the list. Now it gets skipped over. So one thing I noticed what YouTube does on the search results is they can put a video at the top of the list, but they put it at the point of the refresh. So you didn't see that video. I know you didn't see it. It's because they put it right at the little area that it refreshes on, so you'll skip right over it. So it's a way to keep it at the top so it doesn't look weird. but you don't really find it if you go look for it. So look, there's 4 months ago, 439,000 views. Here's a video from Harvard Law School, 40,000 views 5 years ago. I don't know, man. You got me. Also, I don't understand this. This has got 179 views. 179 views. And it outranks a video with 439,000 views 4 months ago. And it's not new. See, this is a really, really old video. I promise that there's a point to all this. It's a really old video, right? But look, she's wearing the same clothing from the screen cap that I took. Same exact clothing. So I think what they did is they're trying to bury my video and other videos like these. But in this video, man, I show you documented evidence about Ruth Bader Ginsburg supporting the viewpoint that the age of consent should be lowered to 12. Now, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a Supreme Court justice. Don't you find that kind of odd? That's all I'm saying. So that's what they were trying to do. The point I tried to make in this video is that progressive culture, progressive liberalism follows a progression. So it's never about what you're talking about right now. It's what you're going to talk about on the next issue or 2 issues from now. So here's what we did. We tackled the race stuff. So interracial marriages, we did that one first, right? Got that one out of the way back in the 60s. Then you get into abortion and then single moms. So you start tackling marriage, people not wanting to get divorced, how that wasn't culturally acceptable. It wasn't culturally acceptable until like the early to mid 80s, getting divorced. So you make divorce normal, you normalize interracial marriages, then abortions, and then divorce. In that order. And then we tackled the gay stuff, and we did the gay stuff for like 20 years, right? Then they got the gay marriage stuff pushed through. And she was a part of it. Ruth Bader Ginsburg voted for it, and so did the guy that just stepped down, Justice Anthony Kennedy. So they made it happen. And then the moment you get gay marriage pushed through by the highest court in the land, you're done with it. You don't need gay stuff anymore. So you move on to transgenderism. So we've been seeing a lot of transgender stuff pop up since like 2013. What I'm saying is that eventually the transgender stuff is not going to be there anymore. It's not, unless it causes problems socially, right? They're not going to keep pushing it. It is what it is now. It's out in the open, all right? So they'll move on to the next thing. And that's what I was trying to tell you in this video, is that the next thing is going to be pedophilia. That's what they're going to do. And just like you said, no way. If you were alive back in the 90s, you're like, no way gay stuff's going to happen. No way. No way. Bam. 20 years later, we got gay marriage. Okay, no way transgender stuff. There's no possible way that they're going to ask you to take seriously a man dressed up like a woman. Just no way. Bam. You get the laws up in Canada. You got to use the right pronouns, right? Law of the land. So when I tell you that pedophilia is the next thing coming, you should listen to Bill Smith and trust him, okay? Because I'm telling you, that's what's on its way. And you're seeing the earliest signals of it right now in talks like this. Let's be mature about pedophilia. Now, if you ask me, I've had this conversation before. I don't think gay people are born. I think effeminate men are born, right? But that doesn't mean that they couldn't have a normal, functional relationship with a woman. It's biologically incapable, it's improbable, and it's unlikely that homosexuality serves any kind of biological purpose. Which means we're either born with souls that have lived lives before as other people and now they're stuck in the wrong body and they don't want to be it. Which, if that's the case, I'd say you got to learn to be in the other body then. Or none of that's real, and this is all a big problem. Okay, I don't know what the deal is, but it seems like people that get molested when they're young, homosexually, have homosexual tendencies, and also target, again, young people. So Milo Yiannopoulos talked about this. This is why we don't talk about Milo Yiannopoulos. Remember how Milo Yiannopoulos, the guy that made it cool to be gay, he was all over Breitbart? Remember that? And he was talking. He got shut out of mainstream culture because he said pedophilia is normal. And he had a really good relationship with an older man when he was 12 who molested him. Made him who he was today. So I'm not the only one that's picked up on this. Okay, this is the goldwater.com. They're calling it TEDogate. TED.com promotes pro-pedophilia speaker, then tries to erase the talk. And that's the part that gets me. If you're proud of what you're saying, leave that stuff up there and just let it air out. The original took place on May 5th, excuse me. I just get so worked up over this stuff, man. It bothers me so bad. Here's some related coverage in Colorado. 49 pedophiles arrested in a nationwide child porn sting. They're messed up people, man. Okay? We need to keep them away from the rest of the population. You're damn right they should blend themselves in and they should suppress those urges. They're not healthy. Now, here's what I'm just going to throw this in there real quick. This whole talk is predicated, and this talk too, these talks are predicated on pedophilia being a normal urge. It's just an urge you're born with. So don't act on it, and then you'll be fine. I would say the same thing about homosexuality. If they're going to come out and say, look, you can't, if you're born a pedophile, you're born a pedophile, you just can't act on it. I'd say the same thing about homosexuality. We did say that about homosexuality. We had sodomy laws against it. We outlawed sodomy. It's terrible. People don't like it. There's a reason. Okay? And the same reason relates to pedophilia that it relates to homosexuality. And that's what they're saying in this talk. We don't need to understand it anymore. We need to make sure that it's people understand this is not cool. Ever. Under any circumstances. I don't care how good of a person you are. I don't care how much church you go to, how good of a person you think you are. I don't care if you're like this and you were nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. This is Joel Davis. Joel Davis has written for the Huffington Post. He is involved in ending sexual violence in conflict areas. People have pointed this out before. They say that anybody that gets involved with sexual violence organizations in conflict zones from the United States or from first world countries are trying to gain access to victims. And that's what this guy did. Now, this is the Columbia Spectator. I'm talking about a student there, a Columbia student, arrested for child pornography and enticing a minor to have sex with him. That's the guy. Gay. Can't help it, man. I mean, he was born with the urges. What's he supposed to do? Is he supposed to not act on his urges, his biological urges to have sexual intercourse with people we don't find acceptable and we find it offensive? Is he supposed to not do that? Is that what he's not supposed to do? Because gay people say it's cool, man, and that we should all be okay with it. And now they're going to say the same thing about pedophilia. TEDx is even saying it openly. So, general studies student Joel Davis was arrested Tuesday in Manhattan on charges of child pornography and attempting to sexually exploit children as young as 2 years old. Davis spent years as a sexual assault prevention activist, both on and off Columbia's campus. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2015 for helping to found Youth to End Sexual Violence and serving as the chairman of the International Campaign to Stop Rape and Gender Violence. Nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. You think maybe that's a little funny? Something about that's a little off? That somehow they didn't know what this guy was up to? Davis was a columnist. He wrote for The Spectator in 2017. He wrote for the school newspaper at Columbia, writing on topics including being a survivor of sexual assault. In a 2014 op-ed in the Huffington Post, Davis condemned the sexual exploitation of children. Here he is with a gay Mickey Mouse pen. And here he is on Twitter. The kicker is that he's plugging a URL called stoprapeinconflict.org, knowing full well that's where he was going to go, and that's exactly what he was going to be up to. That's all I got for now. Until next time, it's Bill Smith. Thanks for watching.